Alright, so I have not been the finest triad player I would wish to be of recent, but we're working on it. And so this was an idea I had for a training exercise for myself. I'm going to take a game I haven't looked at before. I went to chat tournaments. I looked for something with all rules on because I just find that more interesting to calculate. And we're going to take a game from a chat tournament. Did not play in this chat tournament. Maybe I went out in the early rounds. No, I didn't play this one. And just look at a game and going to go 4 moves in and start calculating. And I'm going to give myself about 5 minutes to calculate. And I'm going to say what I see, but if you want to pause for 5 minutes and figure out what you see, and then you could either skip my 5 minutes and jump right to figuring out the answers with the solver, that's fine. But the core idea is going to be I spend about 5 minutes figuring out what I think the best move is, and then we get a ranking of, say, what the 5 best moves were using the solver. The solver won't spit out, best move, second best move, third best move, but with a little figuring, I think I'll be able to put them in order. And we'll see how close I came to the answer, if I can improve on what I'm doing, where I'm missing stuff, hopefully. And also, if you spent the time to figure out a move too, how does your move rank? And, so it gives a game for you, the watcher, to see as well. So we start with a big corner, and we get an adjacent side. Now, the main moves here are normally in 1 or 6, usually 6. Here we see 1. The point being, this is, tough to capture. And we're going to be starting with things where I start on move 5. This isn't particularly a puzzle or anything. I know this game, in fact, led to a tie, but that doesn't mean it was played correctly, though it was played by good players. And so here's my starting position. I am 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the recording. I'm going to start now. So I think the main moves here are 4, 6, and 8. 4 and 6 each lock in cards, while 8 can potentially set up an advantageous T structure. I do note the opponent only has 6 and 9s facing down, so I could imagine 6, 5, 6A potentially sweeping their hand in the right situation, though I might not be able to set that up. Our opponent has a threat in 4 and a threat in 6. So if we go in one of those squares, their most likely move will be to go in the other one. We do not have safety in 4 or 6 ourselves. So we just start looking at a move. Say we play... Well, one interesting thing also is it can be tricky to play, say, in 6, because they can actually plus wall anything we put there. So I'm going to start in 4 and say, let's say we play 7, 5, 5A in 4. If they capture that, we can necessarily capture whatever they captured with. If they capture with 8, 5, 6, 4, we don't want to plus it, and we sort of are forced to. So we might have to be careful there. So 7, 5, 5A in 4, 8, 5, 6, 4 in 7. They are up 6, 4. I think we can play 6, 6, 4A in 8. This flips a whole bunch of things. We'll be up 7 to 3. They cannot combo back in 9. And if they take the same wall with 4A, 9, 4, and 6, we plus wall back in 9, which hits 6, but that's not the part that matters. It also plus walls the card in 8, which will hit 7, which will hit 4, and will win. So 7, 5, 5A in 4, we beat A, 5, 6, 4, and 7. What about 8, 7, 6, 6, and 7? That might be a loss. All right, haven't gone through very much yet. So I think after 8, 7, 6, 6, and 7, 8 doesn't work because we don't set up the same pluses, flipping 5. Specifically because we only have 6s up, so we can't take 8, 5, 6, 4 when it goes in 6. Okay. What about 8? Say we start with 6, 6, 4A in 8. If they go in 4, we take from below, and we at least tie. If they go in 6, if they want to take anything, we can take from below, right, with 7, 5, 5A. And I think we at least tie. If they start in 7, might be able to start in 7. If they start in 9, I think we should be able to play 6, 5, 6A and 6. What if they start in 7? I've gone 6, 6, 4A and 8. They go A5, 6, 4 in 7, with the point that I cannot go in 4 without walking into a big combo. But I can walk into the combo. Yeah, I can just walk into it. So I have a minute to spare, but I think I would be playing 6, 6, 4A in 8 based on what I've looked at. So I guess I do have 50 more seconds or so, but I'm going to have a little chapter note here so you'll know when the time to skip to was. And I'm going to say that's my move. Not entirely sure it works, but that's my move here. So I'm going to check. So we have 9 moves that tie here. And so one of those 9 will be the best move. And we're going to just have the solver tell me how many ties the opponent has versus each of them. So this is a tie. Our opponent has 4 moves that tie. I think the obvious things to do are either to capture from 7 or to go in 6. So if any moves there tie, it's pretty easy for our opponent to tie. Is the same in 6 a tie? It is. So, and is the most likely capture in 7 a tie? It is also a tie. So I think this move ties for us, but has low winning chances. And we have to have specifically seen that this is our tying move, setting up a plus and 8. So we have to see a specific continuation. We can't, if you just said this ties, but you didn't see that you must find this move to tie, this exact move to tie here, then the move's poor. But this is a tie. So that's one move that ties. Our next move that ties is this in 8. This also concedes 4 ties. I think the obvious moves are the captures. Does this tie? Yes, we take it, and then either they don't capture or they do, and we can take back. This is very similar to the line I picked. I think this is also unlikely to win, but I don't think it is very difficult to find, we should do it this way, our path to a tie here. Okay. So I think this is a little securer of a tie. So I'm going to rate this as a better move than this. Though hopefully you calculated either to the tie. This move is also tying. This gives them 5 ties in reply. I didn't get to checking this one. I think the obvious moves are they capture in 9. When we have many moves that tie, pretty much everything ties. For instance, I think this is a nice looking way to tie. They could also take this way, in which case we also have ample ties, including the same idea. And they could go in 4, in which case we win. We've set up everything beautifully for 6, 6, 4, 8 to dominate. I did not spot this. I did spot that sometimes we set up pluses in 8, but I did not spot this line. So we actually win against a possible try, but tie against maybe the more likely one. I'm going to say this is the best of the 3 so far. So far I would rank 1, 2, 3. What other ties do we have? We have this card in 7. Now, the obvious move, I think, is to take. We have set up a plus an 8, though we should not grab it immediately because we get comboed back real hard, lose very badly. But we do have ample ways to tie here. This looks cleanest to me. So we have the tie there. If they start this way, the other kind of natural move to make, I think we can just block 4. Probably want to do it with this card. And that's a tie. All right, this is pretty comfortable. This is pretty comfortable. So I think this move was the best we found because our opponent has a natural move that loses. This and this are both in the ties pretty comfortably. Like, we're not going to blow it. And this was in the we have to have spotted something clever after, but we do tie. So those are sort of the tiers of moves so far. Next up, we have here. So one obvious move is this, where we can play here, and 6/5/6A sweeps them. Nice, we set up that plus an 8. So this wins. And they could take us immediately, which is safe, so really plausible to do. But here, I think we can tie with pretty much anything because we have the best side to... We just kill them side to side. So that's one way to tie. Okay, they could also take this way with the plus wall, but this way we again win by taking back, and again we sweep them side to side. And because they have no even captures that don't, get more stuff taken. All right. So I think this is in the, again, we've given them a chance to make a mistake with this move, right? This loses to here, and this loses. So they have to be a bit careful. They only have 2 moves that tie here, which is some of the fewest they've seen. Another tie is here, apparently. But obviously, something like this is much, not that one, this one is much easier to find. So I would put this in the category with this as trickier. Okay, got a few more ties. We have this to 9. Again, setting up that combo in 8. I think I undervalued the moves in 7 and 9. So options for them. They can take the same. That looks like the most obvious move. And here we have to have seen exactly this move, which is cute, but yeah, this is one of those ones of like, we have to have seen specific continuations to tie. So I think this and this are the weakest of the ties. Obviously they all tie, and if you played it, like, you probably saw the tying line, but I think those were the weaker moves. I think moves like here, and I'm forgetting where else, were more comfortable ties. And then the best ties so far have been in 6, either here or here in 6, giving actual winning chances. Or was it this give actual winning chances? I'm not remembering anymore. I should really be taking a note. Finally, this card in 7, 8, or 6 ties. In 6, it gives them 3 ties. I think this move gave the fewest ties. This only gives 2 ties. This gives 3 ties. This move still loses because we have here and 6/5/6A sweeps. Yeah. This move ties as it always has, and this move probably loses because we again have them side to side. Yeah. So this is another of the gives them chances to lose. This is also a tie, giving us play an 8. But I assume, yeah, this is a tie. This is a tie, so that's one of the safe ones. And my move was this in 8, and this gives 4 ties, so not the highest pressure move. I think the best moves were in 6. And if they go here, we tie. That's one obvious move. If they go here, we tie. Yeah, so I found one of the safe tie lines. I thought the trickiest was if they go here, but this doesn't actually work because I can walk into the combo and I combo them back, and that took me a little while to realize. So I thought this was the scariest move, but it is in fact a losing try. So I looked at 8, which was in that kind of second tier of moves playing here. But the top tier was in 6. And specifically, this move was best. What were the key things I was missing? 1, I at no point in my thinking spotted how dominant I could be on the bottom row. That 6/6/4A basically is just going to sweep that bottom row, specifically. but that almost any card in my hand plays just so well against their hand there. So there are so many lines, like they have the plus wall here, and I just take back and I win because the 6/6/4A is that good. So I underestimated a vertical sweeper, and I think that's my main sin here. Similarly against this, no, we do it the other way here, because now they only have 4s to the left. My 6/5/6A could also turn into a really good sweeper. Okay, how did the game go? This was a game between Delial and Turds. And so we now have, you can generally pick, did you fail to find a tie? If the move you said was not one I talked about, then it loses. So that's the worst score. The next worst, did you pick a move like this, where it does tie, but you had to be specific? Did you pick a move like my move, where it ties pretty comfortably, but has no winning chances? Or did you find a move like this in 6, where your opponent will probably find the tie, but gives them legitimate chances to lose? I think that's the best. And if you found this move, you clearly outperformed me. In the game, Turds went, same move I went with, 6/6/4A and 8. Delial went in 7. Different move in 7. Still with the point that you don't want to go here. Turds still could have gone here, but then you're not capturing anything with this. Turds went in 9. Delial went in 4, and Turds went in 6. So we had a tie. So interesting that Turds and I picked the same move here. I didn't look over and see what the next move was, because I did want to be entirely on my own in the evaluation. I'm going to put in the next hands, and we're going to play the second game of their match. So it'll just take me a moment to get the hands in. Alright, got the first turn hand in. Trying to put it in a somewhat random order, the cards, just to not, give myself weird cues that way. And, okay. So you should be able to see it in a moment. Again, we're going to go to move 5. So the game started with strong corner again. Met by a move in 5, setting up 6/5/A6 in 4, and 6/A7/3 in 8. For 7/7/9 went in 2, and 6/A7/3 went in 8. I have a feeling I've looked at this position before, but I do not remember anything about it, so we are going to be looking somewhat fresh. Notably, our starter was not well defended. Deli does go on to lose this game, but I think we can see this is a pretty tough position. So I'm going to start the clock right at 18:40 of the recording, which is now. So the main moves, in my opinion, in these structures are 3 or 9. There is also a case for going in 4 if there is safety there or it locks in 7. Now, A5/5/7 is not safe there, though it can only be captured by A5/4/8, so if we had a combo back, that would be great, but we do not. So I'm not playing A5/5/7 in 4. 9/9/1A and 4 is not safe there. And if they can take it and you don't have combo tricks back, you're just down so much because they have 3 cards locked in on the left. So the move's not in 4. It's also never going to be something in 1. So I'm mostly looking at 3 and 9, but 6 is also possible. Here, I think 6 must be kind of insane, because the upside outcome of 6 is we stick something in 6, they go safely in 9, we go in 3, and we have 2, 3, and 6, and they have everything else, and then we have 6, 6, 8, 7 remaining, and hopefully that sweeps their hand. That's actually possible. That's possible. So, okay. Is there a move in 6? No. Maybe 991A and 6. Let's look at 991A and 6. The idea is if they go 9, we go A557 in 3. And in fact, we'll have 4 cards. We'll have the cards in 2, 3, 5, and 6. And they take the same in 4, and because we have flipped 5, that flips 2, and we don't get 2 back, so we lose. Okay, 6 doesn't work. So we're on to 3 and 9. 9, we can't take anything. 3 is next to a card we have, but it doesn't really lock it in. So I think we should look for safety first. So I think the first thing to check is A5, 7, and 9, just because we're never taking a 9 anyway. Does that work? If they go A5, 4, 8 in 6, that is safe, but we can play 9, 9, 1A and 3. We're down 6, 4, but 6, 8, 7, 8 is going to get at least 1 capture, so I think that ties. If they start with A5, 4, 8 in 4, we can plus it with 6, 8, 7, 6. That ties at 5, 5, and they have no captures on board, because that was their only card with a capture in 3, which has a combo in 3. So can they be sneaky about that? If they put something else in 4, I can't take that from 1 because they combo back from 3. So I go A5, 5, 7, and 9. They go, say, 6, 5, A6, and 4. They have no downs if they do that. I can play 6, 8, 7, 6, and 6. So I've checked 2 of their cards in 4. A 9A4, 2 is the last card they can put in 4. But I combo on that, right? I can play... if I play 6, 8, 7, 8, and 1, they play A5, 4, 8, and 3. I play 9, 9, 1A, and 6. I end up with the cards in 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. That's a tie. Alright. A5, 5, 7, and 9 is looking hopeful. If they start with something in 3, say they start with 6, 5, A6, and 3, with the point that if I take it with 6, 8, 7, 6, they have the combo in 1. 6, 5, A6, and... So I've gone A5, 5, 7, and 9. They've gone 6, 5, A6, and 1. Can I go 9, 9, 1A, and 3? I think so, because they only have a single capture in 6, and I have a double capture in 4, and if they go 4, F6, I think this is a tie. I think I'm out of time. I forget how much time I actually... When I started, 18 something. It's now 23 something. But I think A5, 5, 7, and 9 is a tie. I didn't have time to check 3. But I think there's not, unlike a lot of positions, there's not much reason to check 3 or 9 ahead of each other. I think checking whichever one is safe first makes a lot of sense. Just because, like, 3 can help lock in my own card, but they can still take it, right? Alright, so we're going to see what the evaluation here. There's one move that ties. It is A5, 5, 7 to 9. So, okay. So I did find the best move this time. I am curious why tries in 3 lost. Now, from what we've seen, it's very obvious this is our best card against their hand. It can cover the A, the 4, the 4. And going down, it can sometimes hit the 10 if it's here, right? It can hit a 10. It can beat a 6 going up. And it can often beat a 9 going up. So this card's not really a card we want out of our hand, but I'm curious why this loses. Because this feels like it keeps the best power available in our hand, but actually I think it just trivially loses to this. No, it doesn't. We have the combo. What am I talking about? I wanted, like, if we had to use this card here, then this trivially beats us, right? But we can do this here. So that one doesn't. But that feels like they should be able to order it, so it does. So what if they started here, right? If I go here, now they go here, and I lose. If I go here, then instead they take it this way and I lose. If I start over here, they just go here and I lose because that doesn't combo anything extra. So I think this is a win. Yeah. Okay. That beats that. If we're trying to score moves here, let's see what happened in the game. I think Deli didn't find this tie. Yeah, Deli went in 3, right. So this was the other move that makes logical sense, right? Which is why we just checked it. So I think this is the second best move because it keeps the best cards available for the S that results. And the best move is here, though it has no winning chances at all, and we have to see a bunch of lines here. We have to see, like, things against tricky stuff in 1. We have to see each card in 4. Like, the trickiest one for me was seeing that we tied here, because it's easier to see when you're on the position, but when you're looking from here, it is, of course, harder to visualize this and harder to notice, oh, they have no down power. I can just go, you know, something here, right? Not this one. This one. So we can take back in 2 and get the tie. So that's hard to see. I think this was the critical line that was probably missed or, you know, that was misevaluated. Because I think this is the hardest move to see at distance. But okay, I feel good. I got that position. The previous position, I found safe tie rather than tie with some winning chances. This one, I found the only tie, and I feel better about it. Let's try one more game. I like with all rules in effect. All right, we did a Deli. Let's take another Turds game. Turds won this tournament. Let's celebrate Turds. Just a random Turds game, not one he won, just a game. We're not specifically seeking out games with wins. We're trying to find the best moves. And if they happen to be wins, that's great. And if they happen not to be wins, that's fine. It's a best move practice. And specifically looking for, are there leaks in my game? And I think the first position may have shown some right now. Obviously, at the moment, I have lots of leaks in my game. But I think the first one showed an example is I underestimated a sweeper. Now, I do think it's somewhat difficult to come to the position not having calculated any prior positions, which is why I do try to do just a little talking of the previous part of the game and generally what the sense is in the formation to try to have a sense of where I'm looking. This is a game from Turds versus Vialva. We get a complicated 3-corner setup. Oh geez, it's going to be a pain to calculate. Vialva goes here, and it's going to be 28-20, and I'll start thinking. I think the obvious square to go in is 2. It locks in 1. The other most likely move, I think, is 8. Sometimes you get 5 as just this huge combo square. Sometimes you can play in 6 and you control everything they could put in 2. That seems very unlikely. They have a same in 2, and we don't ever have the plus in 5, at least hitting the card in 4. That seems so unlikely. So I think it's like, it's not 6, it's not 9 that we're going to play. We're going to play in probably 2 or 8. It's hard for me to imagine we'll play in 5, but maybe I shouldn't rule out something like either of the top 2 cards in 5 setting up a plus in 8. Yeah, we should come back to that. But first, I want to look at 2. I think it's the main move. We put something in 2. It has a 5 facing down, presumably. They have a same in 5. That will put them up 7-3, because that's going to flip 3 as well. Do we survive there? I think we do. We can play in 6 with either the other of the top 2 cards, and we then make it 5-5, and our 3-3-4-7 is guaranteed a capture on the final move. I think we actually win there. So we have a nice trap. They can't go in 5 with 5-1-4-7. They also have captures in 6. If they go with 4-5-2-5. We probably want to have 4-5-5-3 in our hand, because then we'd have a plus in 5, and I think we crush them. If they go in 4 with 5-1-4-7, they're up 6-4. We have at least a tie with 4-5-5-3 and 5. I'm currently thinking we're playing 4-6-5-3 and 2. Do we have any better? We could play 3-3-4-7 and 8. I'm not sure how that works. We have the same in 9, so I think they have to block 9. But they can plus in 9, and we don't really have compensation. So I think that's just a tie. I think if we go 2 and they go 6, that's a tie. Okay, so I'm pretty sure 2 is at least tying. I should also check if we go 2 and they go 8. We've gone 4-6-5-3 and 2. Say they go like 1-2-7-5 and 8. Anything they put in 8, I either can take from 5 when I play 4-5-5-3, unless it's 5-1-4-7, in which case that card is out of their hand and they don't have a double capture in 6 after I go 5. So presumably, they go 8 with something other than 5-1-4-7, with the point that if I take it from 5, they can double capture from 6, and that will be safe to my hand. But is it? 4-5-5-3 is the plus if they played 4-5-2-5, so they should probably go 1-2-7-5 and 8. And then do we have anything? I think we can play 4-5-5-3 in 9. Go up 6-4. They have a triple capture. I think that ties. Now I didn't really have time to get to other moves. When am I supposed to stop? I think I have about another minute. I can also start with 3-3-4-7 and 8, but honestly I think 2 works, and I would at this point make the move that I was confident of. So we're gonna call it and check answers. So I have 7 moves that tie. There are ample moves that tie. We will judge them. We will start with I guess we'll start with the weirdest. This is a tie. Now, I did not consider this. If they make the obvious move, we have only 1 tie. No. I guess it's here. Yeah. Weird. Okay, so obviously that's going to require a very specific vision of sames and pluses after, and is, this is one of those moves. If you find, this ties and you see you have the tying line against 2, great vision, but there must be better ways to tie. This is one where you have to find a narrow path to a tie, and it's kind of weird moves that you must have calculated ahead. I don't think anyone is playing here, because anyone would play here would have found a better way to do it. So I will put that in the dangerous narrow path to a tie camp. What else do we have that's kind of weird? We have this card there, ties. It's going to be the same line, presumably. If they go here, I assume we're going here. That's our tie. Is that our only tie? That's our only tie. Same idea. We have 2 cards that are basically the same. And so often when one of them ties somewhere, the other will tie there as well. That is apparently always the case. The next tie I'm going to look at is this one. This seemed a weird card to use because it's our threat in 8 and leaves us with really redundant cards. It also means we maybe don't have as good a punish against this move. But maybe we still do because they just have no captures here. So this is an easy tie, right? So we have a comfortable tie here. And if they do it this way, we win. Right? Yeah. Either card there should win. That didn't capture. If they go this way, they gave us 5, so I assume we're winning. If they go this way, we just have to go 5. Yeah, that makes sense. We're guaranteed to capture on the bottom row because we have the plus if needed. Okay. Yeah, so this looks similar to the line I found. All moves in 2 tie, which is the most logical square to play. It thinks they're the same. I thought this was slightly better for some reason because there was one line where I liked having the 4-5-5-3. I think it was here when I wanted to be able to plus, but I suspect it doesn't care because you don't need to plus to win here. There's another way to win. That's cute, setting up the plus and 9. So I think like I was right that it's slightly easier if you have the card choice I use to win there, but doesn't actually make a difference. And okay, so these were just, those were probably the best options. And then the other option I mentioned briefly at the start but never got to was what if we just try to set up in 5 and it thinks both moves here are a tie? We'll try this one first. If they go in 2, we presumably have 8. And in this line specifically, we win. So they should use a different card in 2. They should use this one, presumably. I still think we go 8. No, we don't go 8 because we lose. So here, we probably have to be at least vaguely clever. But I think it's just they again have nothing on the bottom row, so we just go here and we tie. Yeah, only one tie in this path. Have to go 6. This is not that hard to find. They could also block 8. And here again, we have only one tie. But again, this is very findable, making sure that we don't allow the double capture because we have the combo back. So okay, I think the moves in 5, again, are the narrow path. I think the best answer was if you said something in 2, probably the 4-6-5-3 or 4-5-5-3, but the 3-3-4-7 worked as well. Moves in 5 are creative, clever, but just barely holding on. If you found the moves in 9, that's super cool, creative find, but better to just go in 2. And moves in 6 and 8 were poor. Which means this was losing, which I didn't fully finish, but if they just go here, yeah, this looks pretty bad. We have the slight point that they can't capture, but what am I not seeing? They just take and we lose. Okay, yeah. So, okay. I think I evaluated this one basically correctly. Let's follow how the game went. Turds played 4-6-5-3 on 2. Again, it's on the same page as me. Vialva went in 8. Which actually apparently gives Turds only one tie. Because there is the point that anytime you do something like this, I have the double capture and you have no capture back. So you can't go in 5. If we go in 4, we can't set anything up, you just block 5. If we go 4-5-5-3 in 9, that should do it. That should be the tie. If we go 3-3-4-7 in 9, you can take with a 5-1-4-7, I think. So I think our move's 4-5-5-3. Indeed, that was played, and they had a tie. So this is from Chat Tournament 17, which Turds went on to win. He and I were clearly on the same page as far as we looked here. I think next time I'll try doing this with move 4 positions instead of move 5 positions. Because I think the thing about move 5 positions is, at least like if you're a strong player, like as soon as I like say like here's the I don't mean strong player, I mean good calculator. If you're a good calculator, as soon as you're like told like, okay, 4-6-5-3, the critical moves 1, 2, 7, 5, and 8, if you can look at this position, you can just calculate it out, takes a minute or whatever, but you can do it, right? The tricky part is seeing here what to start spending time on. Because if you have 5 minutes on the clock and say you knew this was the critical line, you know, you could spend a minute on this and solve it, maybe less, maybe more. It can be hard to see at a distance, but say it takes a minute to solve this position. You only have 5 positions like that you have time to spend time on. And that's what we saw in my analysis here, is I would start looking at the main move, and I wouldn't really get to other moves. I would sort of briefly mention the idea of them, but in just a 5-minute spread, if that's how fast you're calculating, and that probably is my calculation speed when talking, like I should be significantly faster when not talking, but okay, I'm talking. Sorry about the bumping my table. And calculation's tough. And so if you have time to get 5 of those positions right, or even like 8 of those positions right, like you have to get this one right, this one I did get right, you know, this one I realized I can just go in 6. We have to get this one right, we have to get this one right, and I didn't actually check 8, right? But that's 3 different positions with this. Say each of those take me a minute. That's already 3 minutes on the clock. If I start looking at this move, maybe the most obvious move is the best move, I think. You know, say I realize this is a loss, that's 4 minutes, and say I took a minute just to get acquainted with the position. I'm out of time, and I've really only looked at 2 moves. So there might be the question of what can you do to be able to check more things, but I think it says you really got to be checking the important moves quickly, at least in a 5-minute game, because you do not have the time to check that many different things. But once we like announce there's a move, you know, something like this, it's not as hard. Like if you tell me this is the start, I'm going to be much faster to figure out the rest, because I'm not also wondering if I'm looking at the wrong thing or wondering about other possibilities. And I think if we go back to move 4, starting at move 5, there's very much the thing, if I go here, and if that forces, say, this response, you know, I just have to calculate this position. We can get pretty quickly to the position I want to calculate. Move 4 is another move away from that. You know, if we start here, and like, if you tell me, you know, start calculating this move, this is just going to be very hard for me to calculate, right? I'm going to come up with some critical lines, but I'm going to have to rely a lot on different intuitions and other things. Now, it turns out this move loses horribly. I'm going to guess, apparently it loses 4 different ways. I haven't seen which squares beat it. So let's take a brief look. I really want to go in 2. I'm going to bet there's at least 1 win in 2. Also, taking all the sames in 4 looks pretty appealing. Because after something like this, we have the side-to-side sweeper. So I guess here it's matched. So maybe that's not the way. Also might have an up-down sweeper. Yeah, that looks like the way to do it. No, this isn't a win. They can tie in 9. Alright, well, my guess is 2 is winning. Which card in 2 do I want to guess? I guess I'm walking into a combo with some of them. So here's my guess without having spent much time. Am I right? No. Alright. This card in 4 is winning. There were many wins. This card in 4 is winning. Aw. What was the move here? Why didn't I see it? Oh, the 2773 can't take an 8, so it should just be on this. No, it isn't. What am I doing? Alright. I have to actually think. There's this thing I get into sometimes where I go, ah yes, the solver says there's a win. That looks good, that must be the win. Oh, it wasn't? Well, that looks good, that must be a win. Oh, it was, yeah, I got it. But I just didn't spend the time to actually see what captures where, and I just haven't, you know, turned on my actual brain. So I wanted to play 3, 3, 4, 7, and 8, but the problem is they have 5, 1, 4, 7, and 9. If we start with 4, 6, 5, 3, and 8, they play 5, 1, 4, 7 in 6. So it's not 8. If we start 9, we can't really set up a combo on 5. So I feel like it has to be 6. If it is 4, 6, 5, 3, and 6, though, the problem was it's only 5, 5, and they can play 2, 7, 3, 3, and 8. Oh, plus wall is on. Plus wall is on. I for some reason was thinking no plus wall, but we just take that. Our sweeper is good. Brain dead. Low rules convinced me to not look for plus wall. Alright, well, we've now been futzy enough. I guess, so I think for leaks in my game right now, in the first position we looked at, I did not adequately spot that we had a sweeper on the bottom row, and so I did not construct the game to favor that sweeper. I went in 8 because I saw I was pretty decent going up-down against their hand, but I should have gotten in 6, seeing that we were good going side to side. Now, the result either way is probably a tie, but one of those ties applies more pressure. In game 2, I found the only tie. In game 3, this wasn't a particularly tricky position to play. I did find the best move. But also, when futzing around after, it is clear that in unclear structures, I am having trouble calculating cleanly right now. And this is always, I think, the most difficult thing, is take a structure like this and calculate cleanly. But I have certainly had times I've done it better. And here, I guess, I mean, the problem ended up being, like, I just didn't see that this card took, because my brain had decided plus wall didn't apply to low-level games, which is dumb. So maybe there's not a big conclusion to draw there. It's really good when you can draw conclusions that you have a weakness somewhere, and then just force yourself to spend a while looking at those kinds of positions. And while obviously it is easier for me to set up those kinds of positions and just take games and look at them, I do think, obviously having these tools is an advantage I have over other players. But I do think I've given some back for it. One is, there are now so many videos where you can easily just scroll through a video and pause every time it's 5 moves into a game and just start calculating or thinking. And then you can hear what the correct evaluation is, because most of the analysis I'm giving, not all of it, but usually I state when I am or not, is checked with the solver, right? That I usually have that ready to tell me, and I will check to see where I am at. So you have a ton of positions you can potentially use as training positions of different types with evaluations given after, and also where you can compare what you thought to what a different good player thought. And the other thing is, I was sort of intending early on to not really give my actual thought processes, because I kind of wanted it to be like, I'll give good thinking, but not my actual thinking, because I don't want to be either exploited or, you know, if I'm ahead of the curve, have people catch up with me. And I really haven't done much of hiding my thoughts. Like, I've said a lot of thoughts that I think are good, and I've said a lot of my thoughts that weren't so good, but they were my, like, honestly bad thoughts, right? Me getting things wrong. And, yeah, so I kind of think, like, I've given away so much of how I think that competitive advantages go different ways. This isn't important to the video. We don't care. It's just something I landed on to think about, was how much of an unfair competitive advantage do I have? And it's definitely some, but I'm also definitely giving some back to anyone that wants to use it, because you have hours and hours of me talking through how I think about positions. And hours and hours and hours.